Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks so much for coming along. I really appreciate it, as always. I am somewhat known as Jono Canute, and hopefully you are having a great week. I know I am. It has been it's been busy, but let me do a double check here on my audio level here. Now, last time we were together, there were some reports that the lower end of my voice was a little bit too much. And so what I've actually done here on this microphone is I've rolled off the up to, I think I had like 120 hertz or something like that I did a high pass on it. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear a little better. Also, it seems a little darker today just because I actually am trying out like a shade cloth, if you will, trying to see if I can't lighten the fill side because it seemed a little harsh. So I'm playing around with this. I'd love to get a bigger light source in here, mostly because the Elgato Mini, which is what that light is, which is my fill, and my key is the Elgato key light, I think. Anyways, the reason why I really got it was because I could control it with my computer and my phone, so I could program it inside of Stream Deck, and I would be able to manipulate the lights and the color and whatever it is that I wanted. And for the most part, that's fine. But I think the next step is I need to probably get a bigger, better light. It doesn't necessarily have to be manipulated by my phone. It's nice that I can kind of press a button and they turn on. For example, the show start sequence is automated through Companion to turn the lights on, turn my microphone on, turn the lights on, change the screen, do all that. That's quite nice. But I've been watching a lot of videos videos recently on like filming documentary style, because it's kind of what I do. And so I want to get better at that, and lighting is a big part of that conversation. So there's a guy out of Toronto called Mark Bone who does a lot of help when it comes to running video and filming documentaries and that sort of thing. And so one of the things that he suggested was to have the light hit a bigger surface. The problem is that the light that I have is not really that powerful. And so when I put it through some sort of diffusion, then it doesn't really have, this is full power. And so it seems kind of low for full power. And I wish I could make it a little bit stronger. So what I might do is I might move that light, which is kind of harsh and small. I might move it into this position to provide the key light, and then switch this bigger light for the fill, which technically has more power, and see if that works. However, I'm not holding my breath on that because I don't think that's going to be the case. But anyway, so here we go. We're going to try and make this all happen. Now, I've made some alterations to the microphone, so let me know if that sounds a little better, a little cleaner, not quite as boomy on the bass side, which is hilarious because that's kind of what this thing is supposed to help with. The other thing that I should mention is my son is home today. He was kind of had an upset stomach last night, but this morning, of course, woke up bright as rain. So he has to stay home 24 hours in order for that to kind of pass and for him to go back to school. We're right up against the end of the school year. This week and next week is the last week of school here in Tennessee, and then they are home for the summer. So this is kind of a preview of coming attractions, and he's good. He's downstairs on a screen now. I've held him off until now to be on a screen, and so he is now glued to YouTube videos about tractors, and so that's what he's up to downstairs. But there is a 10% chance he's going to interrupt at some point. And if he does, we'll just have to roll with it. Good morning, Angus. Hopefully you're doing well. The shadows above your monitor are pretty weird. Yes, they are. Yeah, I only have 2 lights. That's probably coming off of the lights down here. The color lights are probably casting that shadow. So they are a little strange, that is for sure. I'll try and address that one of these days, but not today. Hopefully you're well. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Today I want to talk about the recent implementation that we had with Blackmagic Cloud. when we went to NAB, we asked them flat out, all right, here's what we want to do. We want to record all of our cameras, and then we want to ship them across the cloud down to an editing suite, which is known as my bonus room. And we want to have the full value of all of the files that are, available. And so they kind of steered us in the direction of, you can totally do that. You probably need our discussions here, by the way, we brought up at NAB with some guys in the recording section of their booth. And the end of the game was, what I want to do is record all my cameras, probably into an ATEM ISO SDI 1080p 60 or 5994, and then save all those files to a hard drive, ship those all across Dropbox, and pull them down in a recording studio that's 45 minutes to an hour away from our soundstage. And they said that method is fairly widely used among their cloud-based people, where they have a big Dropbox account and they just want to transfer the files and pull them down. And so what you could do is you could record them on the ATEM, bring them all in as sources, record them on the ATEM, and then ship them across. And it'll do a simultaneous audio and video record of all channels. So we have 5 cameras at the soundstage, and the first two cameras are Blackmagic Studios, 6K studios. And they are great. They'll do, obviously, 6K, but we don't necessarily need 6K. It would be nice to have those in 4K, 6K. And so we're considering later on down the road doing something like a hyperdeck for recording to 4K, at least, onto the hyperdeck. And then those could actually directly plug into cloud. More on that in a minute. So the way that we kind of mapped this out was, I would get an ATEM. All the sources would go into the ATEM ISO Extreme, okay, SDI version. We would come out of our Constellation ME2, is that what I'm saying? Mix Engine 2, and then we would also get a Cloud Dock 2, which is basically just a little unit that watches folders that you select and tell it when something appears in there, pull that down onto the hard drive that's literally plugged into the Cloud Dock 2. So that's what we were doing. That was the proposal, and Blackmagic said, yep, that's an approved workflow from us. So that was great. And it didn't really break the bank. I think by the time we were all said and done, it was like $3,000 in and out. So to go from having 1080p 30 recorded on a 12G Blackmagic video assist to going to having all of the data available on every camera, and all the audio coming across the SDI lines, whatever it is that we choose, that would give us the flexibility to bring in a lot more data. And so I am pretty pumped about this setup, mostly because it's going to make my life, I love to automate things. I know you guys know this already from my, from my past ranting, but I love to automate things where pretty much it happens on its own. The one piece, I'll get into this in a minute, is just the transfer from the hard drive that's plugged into the ISO over to the Dropbox account. But I have a solution for that. I just haven't automated that yet. So out of the gates, we did this last week. On Sunday, that was our first trial run for making that happen. Hey, I'll be in and out for a bit this morning, just on an event, and we're about to get started. Hey, good luck on your event. Thanks for stopping by anyways. Hey, from Winnipeg. What's going on, Randy? I almost missed the stream today, but I made it. Excellent. I'm glad you could join us. Hopefully you glean something from this. So on Sunday, was our first trial run of this setup, and the goal was record all 6 channels. And then our channels are camera 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we've got 5 different sources. 2 of them are Studio Cinema cameras from Blackmagic. 2 of them are Sony PTZ cameras. And one of them is a DSLR it's a Canon DSLR. And it comes across on a CineView wireless transfer system, which we've talked about in the past. So not a super heavy workload, but everything comes in basically at 1080p 60, and then we try and ship it across. The other source, so that's 5 sources, the other source is our program source. And so that's going to have my final audio on it. And that's going to bring across everything that we did live, switched live during the actual production of Sunday morning. So the audio is going to come across on input number 6, and I'm going to extract that audio file. Actually, I'm not even going to extract it, because what I found out was when the ATEM records, it records the audio separately from the video. So all the video is audioless, and then all the audio files come across natively. Now, if there was a way for me to not record channels 1 through 5 because there is no audio attached to those files, that would be great. However, those audio files are not big. They don't take long to kind of transfer over. So that's kind of a minor point. But it would be nice inside the ATEM ISO to be able to say, bring across audio from channels and actually select it. I don't see that option on the, from the initial installation that I did. There is, however, an option just to basically say record all channels when I hit record, and it does it pretty much automatically. One of the things that you need to be really careful about with recording on an ATEM ISO, so this is at the beginning, right? You bring them all in. What's going on here actually is I've got sources coming from my constellation. The 4 sources that are coming from the constellation are cameras 3 and 4, 5, and program. Cameras 1 and 2 actually are connected into my system via a studio converter, which is a device that provides PoE power to the camera, provides send and receive video from the camera, and audio, and tally information, and metadata. So time code and all of that stuff. It's a 1 cable plug-in, just like NDI is with, most NDI cameras. It's a 1 cable connection where you don't have to supply power and internet and control. Everything is just 1 cable, plug it in, super simple install. Same concept here, except the studio converters are about $1,000, and then the cameras themselves are a couple $1,000. And so if you're going to do the full 1 cable integration, you're going to be at least in $3,000 or $4,000 per camera without a lens. And so to whatever lens that you're going to get, in our instance, it's the 6K EF mount. And so we've got 70 to 200 lenses on there. Big boys, they're a couple $1,000 each, and they're non-motorized even. So, more on that another day. But the whole buy-in package, per camera channel can be $7,000 or $8,000 by the time you're really done installing, running wire, getting all of the, converters, getting all the camera stuff, getting all the accessories for the camera, everything. It continues to kind of snowball a little bit. And so you really do, invest in your manned cameras. That's a big, I've got camera operators at the soundstage. And so that's a big part of what it is that we do. And we'll pay extra to kind of have those really nice. But the other shots, cameras 3 and 4, are just PTZs that I control up in the booth, which I'm fairly familiar with at this point. And camera 5, which is actually on a glide cam system. And so it's mounted to a rig that is, I think it's called a GSM. But anyways, it's a glide, and it just goes back and forth. You set the start and end points, beginning of service, you hit go, and it just runs. And I've got that plugged in mostly via DC power, but there are a couple of batteries in that operation as well, which lasts the entire 2 hours that we're using it. So all of those sources come across, and it's very convenient then to, when I hit record, it records all channels. Okay, so it actually records 8 channels, 8 audio and 8 video, and it dumps them onto a hard drive. Now, what I was getting at earlier was one of the things you got to be really careful about is the hard drive that you pick for the ATEM ISO. And there's, on Blackmagic's website, on their support side, it actually tells you which hard drives have been tested and which ones are good enough to do what it is that you want it to do. And so not just any USB-C hard drive is going to work. You need to probably get one that's listed on their approved hard drives, because they have to be fast enough to write massive amounts of data. And by massive, we mean gigabytes of data, because it is tons and tons of data. So when I was done, okay, 1080p, 5994, and each source had audio and video. The video channels per channel were about 25 gigs, and we recorded for about 90 minutes. That's not ridiculous in the video world, quite honestly, for the level of quality that you're getting on each of the cameras, the potential for quality. 25 gigs for 90 minutes is not really a big deal. Now multiply that by 6 and transfer that over to Starlink, and you kind of get the idea that it's going to take a little while to do. However, it worked perfectly. On Sunday, I hit record. All the channels started. I also hit record on my little Blackmagic video assist just in case, and that records program. But I hit record there, and I just tried it out just to see what would happen. And the hard drive that we picked, which is the Samsung T7 Shield, was fast enough to handle the 6 channels and all the audio, and it didn't appear to give me any problems with drop frames or buffering or anything like that. So the Blackmagic ATEM got a little hot, mind you, but the ATEM ISO got a little warm, and it was able to record everything that I needed. So thumbs up to you guys, because first of all, you guys here on this channel pointed me in this direction as to how to flesh this out. But the recording happened great. I did then have to go in and manually transfer the files over to Dropbox, and we have 30 or 40 megs per second upload at the soundstage, and so that took part of the day. But all of the files were in my house before Monday morning. They're actually here about 9 hours before I started working, which is about 8 o'clock in the morning. And so they were here about midnight. Everything arrived in due time, and it was ready for me to edit. And the beautiful thing about having CloudDoc 2 local on your network is it basically is a NAS, and it is available to run as a hard drive connected to your computer over your network. So let me flesh that out a little bit for you. That product is actually right here off camera, that CloudDoc 2, and it's okay. The form factor, I wish it made a little more sense, but it's just a desktop unit is what it is, and has a couple of hard drives in it. These hard drives are not necessarily as important as the one that's doing the live recording, obviously, right? But these two, I've just got a couple of 2 terabyte Samsung hard drives in there, and I've got one of them linked to the folder that I want to pull down the data from. But what's beautiful about this is that it is a NAS system that is here on my network. And so when I open DaVinci inside of my work computer, my Mac Mini, I can just link it to the files that are there on the NAS, and it will pull them there instead of transferring them to any external hard drive that I might have connected to my computer. So this is an additional 4 terabytes of information. Now, a sidebar here, there are actually 2 hard drives. Okay, so it sees it as 2 individual hard drives resting on my network. And something I haven't been able to figure out is, and I can show you this, but inside the cloud service, you have to select which hard drive you want these files to come down to. And there doesn't appear to be necessarily a way to specify these files in the folder go here and these files in the folder go there. It's kind of like an all or nothing situation. But I could automate it on the soundstage side to offload into 2 different folders, and then I could transfer those folders to 2 different destinations, drive 1 and drive 2. So there is a way to do it manually, not manually, but there is a way to do it outside of cloud, and then the cloud automation piece would handle it for me. The program that I'm using is like an auto sync program, and I stumbled across this. Let me actually open up. Let me see if that computer is available right now. Yeah, that Stream Machine is online. So let me just pull this open real quick and see if I can show you. I kind of found I found a little free program that allows us to do this. And so here's that computer. And here is the program, AutoSync. The program itself, though, is not called AutoSync. What's it called? Free File Sync, version 14.3. And what this does is it just watches a hard drive on your network, and when you hit sync, it synchronizes and updates the folder wherever you've pointed it to mirror whatever it is that whatever folder that you have. So in this instance, I have that T7 Shield that Samsung T7 Shield selected, and it basically will bring over any files that are different to the Dropbox folder. And so we have our Dropbox file path here, and then anything that shows up that's different from anything here that's different than what's over here, it will bring them across. You can also set up this little program to keep it live. And so, for example, you can run it in Task Scheduler. You can say, run this sequence in Task Scheduler every Sunday at noon, for example, which is what I plan to do. And that will then auto sync everything out of the T7 Shield over to my Dropbox folder. And then once the files appear in Dropbox, they'll get pulled down here over in my home studio. So that's the automation piece of this that allows me to basically be hands off. All I have to do is to remember to hit record and remember to hit stop, and then this thing will handle everything else. So when you're recording, you probably would want it to be a manual start and stop. However, if you're doing something consistently every week like we are, maybe you automate that piece as well. The danger is if you're not doing something that week, you got to remember to turn it all off. So I kind of like the automatic hit the record button, hit the stop button, and then if there are any new files that are in the ATEM Extreme ISO T7 Shield, it will automatically then bring them across. You can also go in here and tell it not to bring certain files across. And so when the list populates, and I can even do this for you just so that we can see what that looks like. So here on the network, let's drop this down. Actually, you know what? Let's use this folder. Select this folder. And then, oh, that did not work. Select T7. Select folder. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, it will list all the files here, and then it will list the files that are in this folder as well. So we can say Dropbox, this is the actual folder that we want. Compare files, and there we go. So here is a list of files that are on the left-hand side, not in the right-hand side. Everything else is already in there. And so you can see here I have these like Samsung. This is like a little software that Samsung gives you. But I do see cameras, for example, camera 7 and 8, which don't exist, didn't get brought over. And each of these are almost a gig. So these were not recorded. Those two channels are blank, which is why I said don't sync those over. Now, these files these files that are on the hard drive on the Shield are already over here in my Dropbox, and so there's nothing to synchronize over. But if you did have files that you wanted to come over, you just hit synchronize, and it brings it across. The nice thing, too, is that, again, you can automate it. So this worked perfectly on Sunday. I hit that button. It transferred them all over. I watched it. I made sure that it was working. And then when it was done, I went to lunch. And then when I got here at the house, everything was brought over already except for the video files. And there was about 150 gigs worth of data of video files that needed to come across. So that little tool is free. It's online. Don't know if you know about it. But if you need files, for example, to mirror each other on a scheduled basis, this program can do it, which is really nice. So good stuff there. Now, let's talk a little bit about Cloud Dock, and let's talk about what happens on my side. I am able to share this information here. Here is the back end of what Blackmagic Cloud looks like. Blackmagic has an HDMI out on the back of the Cloud Dock that basically gives you full-time status reports of everything that's going on. And you can see here, I've actually brought this in on Studio Monitor. Why? Because I plugged it in to my capture card, which then gets generated as an NDI source so that I can show these across the network. So this is the total usage so far of the hard drives that I have used for Sunday. And so as you can see, I'm barely scratching the surface. We're not even anywhere near 4 terabytes. And so I can have multiple Sundays worth of information saved here in my bonus room studio on Cloud Dock, and which is good news. I'll explain that in a second. But I can have multiple Sundays worth of raw video data saved here, and I'm only using one drive. I have 2. You can see it says 4 terabytes. I'm actually only copying to one drive. And so I'm going to be able to have 3 or 4 different hard drives. I'm sorry, 3 or 4 different Sundays recorded to a single hard drive before I need to worry about removing old services or anything like that. I can have all that raw data right here. So this is kind of what that interface looks like. It tells you what connections you've already made, and you actually do this inside a cloud service. So if I pull up the cloud store setup screen, I can share that with you. So all of Blackmagic stuff looks like this, and you can say, okay, I want to go in here and access this. Now, let me remember what this is. It's been a while. It should be admin. Whoops. Sorry. Nope, I have forgotten what this is. Give me a second here. Whoops. What's going on here? Oh. Is it this one? Try that again. Keep fat fingering it. Should have written this down. No, it's not. Okay, in here, all this will actually let you do. I'll just explain it. It allows you to set up recording paths. And so I have, for example, it watches a folder in Dropbox. You put your Dropbox information in, it logs in, and then it just watches a specific folder. When anything changes in there, it pulls it down. And so it's really convenient. It's kind of just like an automated NAS that just, hey, mimic whatever's in that folder. That needs to come down here locally. And then this interface then starts showing information. Now, I'm going to try and share. Let me go over here. I'm going to try and actually put a file so that you can see what's happening in real time. I'm going to put a file inside the drive, and then we can actually watch this go on here on our own. Where do we want to go here? Let's see if I've got a decent size file that won't take too long. Okay, I'll use the FreeSync one. So we're going to copy FreeSync. It's 20 megs. Copy. We're going to go to the T7, and we're going to put that in there. Actually, let's put it inside the OSH folder. Paste. All right, now let's go back to our FreeSync program, and I just want to show you what this looks like here. So cancel. So we want to compare files, and I want to remove anything that I don't want to sync across, so these silly files here. However, FreeSync, that is something I do want to come across, and then these video files I do not. So we're going to close those down, and then I'm going to say, so all of these say do nothing, but these ones say add new files. So now I'm going to sync those over. Please start. Boom, done. Now we're going to go back to our Dropbox account, and we're going to just watch and see once these get put up into the cloud, which is just 20 megs, so it shouldn't take long. We're going to see that the volumes change, and now here 1023 synchronizing files. There we see data coming through, and we're done. So we've added an extra little block here. You saw a little blip on the drawdown on the download speeds here at the house, and that file now should be over here in my Yoink. Let me open my work computer here so you can see this. Should be available on the Dropbox. Oh, I'm sorry, on the Blackmagic side of things. I'll turn down my. All right, options, volume 1. So I wanted to show you this here. Volume 1, OSH3 is where I put those files. And there is that FreeSync exe file that's on my hard drive here locally. Okay, so that's Blackmagic, volume 1, 3, and there's that file that got brought over automatically. So that is seriously the pinnacle of convenient, because now all I have to do is figure out how to automate the FreeSync with the task scheduler and let it run at noon every Sunday from the soundstage. and we're good to go. So it'll just automatically bring those things over and synchronize those files. So I'm a big fan of the way that this has kind of worked out, because it has been a big stress on my life to figure out, like, when we're doing a lot of this video production stuff, one of the stresses that I've had is like, all right, how do I get the best quality without having to do like a ton of legwork just to make it happen? And I'm kind of addicted to automating things. My house is automated. A lot of my weekly tasks are automated. And people say, well, like, what do you do all week if everything's automated? It's like, well, I spent my time automating it. That's why I did that. So I still get paid to do the things that I get paid to do, but I automate it so that all the mundane weekly tasks don't have to be constantly done over and over and over. So that's the kind of nice thing about expanding our capabilities, is as you expand into more commercial grade things, there are more options there to automate things, like Companion, like this free file sync program that can run through Task Scheduler on Windows. Lots of options there to make your life easy. So, hey, regarding the ATEM Extreme running hot, turn down the button brightness to 10%, and that will help a lot. Regarding the file sync, yes, that's a great program. Another great one is SyncBack Free, used by loads of IT people, which is very stable. See, that's the way I feel. Like, this program, there's no bells and whistles. It's very night and day about what it can do and what it is. If I open this here again, I can share this back with you. Yeah, this little program is fairly intuitive in terms of how, just scans the folder and says, all right, here are the differences. Do you want me to sync them over? And I love that, because what's also interesting here, and something I need to test, let's test this right now, actually. I'm going to open the T-Shield, and I'm going to go into the video files, and I'm going to delete these two video files because they don't have any data in them. So actually, hang on. So let's do compare. Let's eliminate these ones, and I'm going to synchronize these guys over. So they're 80 megs for the cameras, and let's not do the audio because that's not necessary. Okay, so go ahead and synchronize and update. Go ahead. All right, so the video files are coming across, and let's just jump back to my... Here we go. So the video files have come across. They're being pulled down. They're being written on the hard drives. Okay, that's a better example, actually, because they're 100. It's 150 megs. By the way, it's a beautiful 75 degrees outside right now in Fairview, but it's too hot for coffee, which might be a problem here on this show. That if I can't drink coffee all summer, because it gets so hot in this bonus room because of the computers. So I'm not sweating like I was back in Clarkston, but it still gets pretty warm up here. So it's 80 plus degrees in here right now. Okay, so there, we watched the video file transfer happen. And now we're going to go back to the sync files. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these two because I don't need them. They have no data associated with them. So I'm going to delete them, and I'm going to say yes. Now we're going to compare these files. And it says these audio files are here. Ooh, that's cool. However, notice that the video files item doesn't exist. And so doesn't exist on the right side only, but it does exist on the left. So you can change the function of this to delete the item on the right, or to add it back to the left. And so you can say, look, I want you to synchronize so that those files return, or I want you to go ahead and delete the file that's here. Now, there are ways of doing this, by the way, is if the file is deleted on the left, then you want to delete it on the right. Okay, so now we have a custom filter. We're going to compare and contrast again. Okay, so it still says nothing. Let's try that. Maybe I did that wrong. If the file is deleted on the left, then deleted on the right. Is that what I want? Oh, you can set this up to mirror. That's cool. Retain deleted files, permanently delete them. Send email notifications. That's cool. Okay, so what are the options here? Two-way, mirror. Okay, so mirror all actions. So if the file deletes, that's what I want to do. So say okay. And then if the file is not over here on the left, then delete it on the right. Okay, however, that's going to also delete all these other files that are there. So I don't want to do that necessarily. So let's do custom. And custom, we are going to copy and paste. And then here, if the file is, if the item doesn't exist, if the item exists on the left side only, copy a new one to the right. If the left side is newer, then copy it, update the right item. That's cool. If the right side is newer, then update the left item. No, I'm going to say do nothing. And if the item exists only on the right-hand side, then delete it. Say okay. All right, so we still have this other configuration here. Get out of here. Still have this other configuration here. Problem is I don't necessarily want to ISO video files. Where are the actual, can we compare sizes again? Boom. So video files, delete these ones. Item exists only on the right-hand side. Where are the video files from? Like these video files. I actually don't need any of this Dropbox, like these projects. So that would be fine. I need to delete this program out of here because I don't need this right here. Delete this. Yes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and compare sizes. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I wish there was a way I could mass unselect everything. Action F11. Differences. Oh, that's cool. You can sort the differences. Is there a way to highlight all of these, you know? And then just say uncheck. Brr. Lame-o. Can we unselect all? How can we do that? Nothing there. Okay. Well, let's fumble around with that just a little bit here and see what we can find out. I'll jump back to the comment section real quick just to make sure I'm not losing any of you guys in the conversation. Nope, we're good there. Okay, so the key here is exclude via filter. Exclude. Ah, nice. Okay, and then this is video files. Exclude via filter. Video files. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so here you can just mass select what you want, and it looks like you could even select. So this is the bulk of the project that will be transferred over is the audio. So let's say no to these audio files. Video files. This says delete the item on the right because it doesn't exist on the left. So now if let's go ahead and do that. One item to the trash. Go ahead. You cannot delete this directory. Processing cannot access the file because it's being used by another process. Remove the directory. Retry. Okay, it did it that time. probably because I had it open here. So now, if I go to T7 Shield and I go to this, which is where it was, video files, those two files are no longer on the Shield. And then if I open Dropbox here, raw video files, that's where we're transferring it to. Under video files, we're working on it. Okay, so 8 is now gone. I don't know why 7 is still in here. Can we compare file sizes? 7, 8, yeah, remove those ones. And do not add these ones. Okay, remove all 3 of those, please. Synchronize. Go ahead. Retry. Delete for everyone. Retry. Okay, so now, boom, 7 and 8 are both gone. That's great. And these files are now living inside Dropbox. Now, the question I have, the next thing we're going to find out is on my side, on my Mac, do those files live update here? So let's open this. Soundstage, nothing has transferred. That I guess I may have missed it, but that's okay. But here, this is on my hard drive, volume 1, OSH 3, video and file sources. They are gone in here. So let's just do one more experiment. On this screen, I am going to transfer this file right here into video files. Boink. Why, you might ask? Well, because I want to see if Dropbox will put it here. I'm sorry, I want to see if Cloud will put it in here instead. Okay, so there's no activity yet. Volume 1, 3, video files. Okay, nothing has happened yet. What did I do wrong here? I put it... Oh, I only put it in the T7, that's why. Burnt. I'm an idiot. Okay, so here, file, compare... Hey, it looks like this file has been moved. Would you like to move it? I would like to move it. Synchronize. Sync. Yoink. Now we're going to talk to Cloud because that file has changed. And there it is. Bob's your uncle. So it copied it to there, which is amazing because... Final check here. We're going to go back to this. Go here. Video ISO. We're going to cut this out. Cut. Paste. We're going to compare these files again. Compare these files again. Why does it want to delete it here? Oh, is it because... Okay. So let's remove these ones again. Synchronize. Start. Ignore. Compare these files now. Did it put it back? So on the Shield, that file is now sitting here. Nothing quite there yet. Whoa. Stop it. Cancel. Close. These are OSH. That was a lot of files that just went to be deleted. Okay. So final check here. T7. That file, that program is back in here. And let's see on my machine, I guess, if that file, yep, has returned. These files are temp files. I guess those can be removed because they don't need to be there. Man, I do love this, though. I love the fact that I can just, hey, look at the differences between these files. Go ahead. Yoink, done. Delete for everyone. Now those files should be identical. All right, so the final thing then is to customize this so that, let's go ahead and save. We're going to customize this T7 shield folder. What's in here? That's just these are just video tests, I think. Yeah, that's just last week's video test. So untitled can go away. Deleted. This was a test last week as well, so these can be deleted. Yoink. There's nothing in this folder, so this can be deleted. And then I'm not too sure what this information is. Blackmagic sync looks like to be some sort of like logs or something like that. So now if I compare, yoink. You want to remove these files? Yes, I do. And eventually we will transfer those over. But go ahead and synchronize. Start. I don't want them to ask me that anymore. Yes, go ahead and delete. Okay, so now our folders are identical. I want to see, however, over here, I want to see all the files. I don't want it to just show me the differences. How did I do that? No, don't swap. Exclude these files. All right, and then the other thing then that you can do here, apparently, is create a basic task. This is auto sync for Blackmagic. Next, weekly. Next, on Sundays, reoccurring every week on Sunday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern or Central Time. Send a program, start a program, add your program script, auto sync to Dropbox. I don't think I need to add any arguments, but I'll look into that later. Run this weekly. Now, auto sync. Run. Did it actually run it or did it just open it? I think I need to add the argument to actually hit the run button, right? So let's go to help. And there will be a way to sync settings, daylight savings time, real-time syncs. That's cool. Let me just pull back to the, I just don't want to miss you guys over in the chat if somebody said something and I have a tendency to like continue to talk on and miss it. I'm going to put this over here and then I won't miss anything. Okay, there we go. So now we can set this up to run this. Where are we here? Tips and tricks. Run as a service. Run as a service. Designed to run in the background, which does not need further attention. Depending on your requirements, there are a number of ways to start it automatically. Real-time sync as a service. There we go. So real-time should be monitoring while Windows is running, irrespectively of current logged in users. Create a new task in your operating system tasks to have it execute the command line above. See scheduled batch jobs and an example of how that task works. Then change the user which runs the task to system. A special user account, which is always running in the background. Schedule batch job. Create a new batch job. Menu file, save as a batch job. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this. Menu, file, save as a batch job. Okay. Step 1 done. By default, FreeSync will show a dialog. Ignore errors, show error dialog, run minimized, and also auto close if you want to skip the summary dialog at the end. Cool. So auto close, ignore errors. If you don't want errors or warning messages, to stall your synchronization with no user is available to respond. Ignore errors or set cancel to stop the synchronization at the first error. The FreeSync batch job can be started by double-clicking on the batch file, or it can be set in your operating task scheduler. Open your task scheduler, either in the start menu, run it, click on basic task, follow the wizard, script, and the location of the file, and then insert the batch into the argument. There we go. So we're going to properties. Add this argument. What was the actual path to the argument is what I need. Save as. I'm going to put this inside here. Save it. And then I need that path. Here. Nope, not there. Right? It was in Dropbox. That's where it was. Dropbox, raw video files. Batch file. Properties. Details. I want the whole thing. That's the location. Shoot. Ah, there we go. Copy. Scheduler. Paste. Okay. 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 One more time. The program script always needs to point to an executable file. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're going to run this thing as if. Go to Task Scheduler. Run it. It didn't actually do it, though, did it? I have done something wrong. Oh, you guys aren't even watching this. So I've got it to where I can open the scheduler. This is the batch file. Auto sync to Dropbox. Task scheduler. We're going to edit this again. Actions. Batch. Startup program. Oh, it has to be connected to an exe file. That's what it is. So if I go to back to here, I click on this, show in Explorer, and I say properties. Okay, so I actually need free file sync, the executable. Free file sync. I want to open file location. And I want to look at the properties here. There it is. Copy this one. Let's go here and put, whoopsie. Paste. And we're going to take the little quotations off. We're going to say, okay. Here's the arguments have been included in the program text box. Do you want to run the following program? Yes. Okay. So now, if I go here and I say run, whoopsie. Let me close this and close these things. Okay. Now I broke it. Properties. Conditions. Edit. Oh, this is not. Oh my gosh. But it says it has to be an executable. Here. Open task scheduler. Note, program script always needs to point to an executable file, like the free file sync.exe, even when the FFS batch file association is registered. The task scheduler will run with the error code. All right, so that's what is happening here is it's not running with the correct permissions, or it's not running with the actual file. So if we go here in program files, file sync, that's the one. Say okay. Oh, guy. Now if I run it, burnt, unexpected error. Expected. Oh. So it was expecting that. What I had before. Then why wouldn't it run? Cancel. Where did we put that file, I wonder? Docs? Yeah, here it is. Open. Okay. Run. Okay, the thing here is, though, it didn't actually run the file. Maybe I haven't read far enough. To schedule to run under a different user account, note that the configuration via global XML will also need to read from a different path. No, this is currently... Put quotation marks around the path file space characters, otherwise the path will be misinterpreted as multiple paths that don't exist. Interesting. Okay, so maybe I had it right the first time. Let's try that one more time. Properties, actions, edit, browse, this PC, Does not like that. Expected file extension. All right. Backup project batch. Okay. Let's see if I'm doing that wrong. Actions, edit. Does this one have quotations? Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here? Files? What? That's not the path I selected. Interesting. All right, so here, not this one. Go here. Go to Dropbox. That would make sense. Inside raw video files, I want to see these properties, and I need the full path. I need the full path. Here it is. Got. Oh. Wait, is that it? Yeah, that's it right there. Okay. All right, task scheduler. Cannot open. Burnt. Okay, so I probably need to save that to a better place than that. So back to Dropbox here. Oh, did it delete it? That's funny. It deleted the batch file. Put it back, please. And don't do these ones. Sync. Start. Completed successfully. Have succeeded. All right. Now we're going to synchronize again. Oh my gosh. This is so annoying. I made a dumb error. Cannot find the batch file. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and delete. Do you really want to? Well, you can't use it, so you might as well. Last session. Compare. There we go. You. Menu. File. Save as batch job. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Save as. This PC documents. No, that's a bad place for that to be. I don't even know where to save this. Seems trivial, but all right, let's put it here. All right. That probably makes more sense at this point. Security. Here is the object name. Copy. Now we're going to say task scheduler. We're going to edit you. We're going to say actions. We're going to paste this and say okay, okay. And then we're going to run it. Run this selected task. Run it. It is running, but it's not noon. Get out of here, OneDrive. You virus. All right, so if I close down this program now, and I say run, It is running. Is it because I have this set up on a trigger? So if I delete the trigger and then I just say okay and I hit run, it's not doing anything. Okay. So yeah, I've got to, I guess I'll just start right over and just say, and delete. All right. Create a basic task. Name. Auto sync to Dropbox. I need this done weekly. On Sundays at 12 a.m. Next. I need you to start a program. The program I need you to start is this one. And the argument that I want you to run is this one, but I want quotations around it. Finish. I guess I should put a file in there and see if it's actually doing it, right? So if I, for example, copy these files and put these files in here, actually these in here, because this is really what I'm concerned about. I paste those, I close this down, and then I run this process. Do those files get transferred over to Dropbox? I could easily find that out, I guess. Whoops. Oh. Hang on. Did that actually work? I think it may have run it. Because I put them in here, and then those files appeared here. Fascinating. And so that means that on my Mac, where are we here? On my Mac, those files theoretically, boom, are there. Interesting. All right, so that little script works. Good. Right? That's what we wanted. All right, so I'm going to just leave this up and try and see. Well, I could manually start the transfer. You know, in theory, actually, you know what? I want this to actually start at 11 a.m. Because in theory, we'll be done by 11 for sure. And I can always trigger it manually if it doesn't go off on if it doesn't go off on its own. But for the most part, that should work. So, okay, well, it is past 11 o'clock. That's the whole automation. I mean, that's everything. So now when I record stuff, it should automatically do it for me, which is pretty stinking awesome, because that's pretty much how I want to roll. Is I don't want to have to do it. I don't want to. It's not I don't want to do it. I can do all the manual stuff. That's no problem. It's when I send other people over there to do it. All I want them to have to do is press the record button to start and the record button to stop, and all the information will come over automatically for me. One other thing, I guess, I actually am headed over there this afternoon to do some recording, which I do need to kind of hit the bricks here soon. But one thing that I'll do is I'll duplicate this process just to run once today at 4 o'clock, just to see if it goes. So if I go here, let's log back in. All right. So I'm going to duplicate this task manager process, and is there not a copy option? What? Come on. All right, triggers. Let's do this then. I'm going to add a new trigger just one time today at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock p.m. Should be done by then. Say OK. And now we will see. We'll see if it runs, which would be pretty great if it does. Because hands off, man. I love it. I love that I don't have to manually pull the levers and everything just to make it all work. It could just do it on its own. Well, all right. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hopefully that you've learned something as I fumbled around. I really like that little program, though, that free file sync program. Pretty basic, but you can generate batch files and then put those in Task Scheduler, which we did. And I'll report next week whether or not that worked. So thanks for coming along for the ride. I'm going to go see if my son's okay. I don't hear anything, which usually means he's staring at a screen. So I'll go check on him. But really appreciate you guys coming along. Thanks so much for hanging out. I love the new Blackmagic Cloud recording workflow that we have. It's going to serve us really well. One thing I will share with you here is just the video quality that I get. And remember, this is through transferring this through a remote service, but the quality that I'm getting here on these raw video files is pretty stellar, and I can bring them in. What I love the most is that I don't have to import them directly onto my computer in order to use them. I can use this as a NAS on my network, and I get full video quality. And so if I just bring one of these up here, this is cam 2. This is my wife. This is cam 2. And we move cam 2 around, take different shots, of course, but it's just cam 2 the whole time. So you can see them moving the camera and adjusting things and whatever. But this quality is really high, like really high quality. I'm going to open this actually in QuickTime. Compared to what we normally get, this is a really high quality, lots of detail. The timestamps are here, which is really cool. Yeah, it's the real deal. So I love it. I love the fact that now I get the full value of what I'm looking for. And yeah, it's beautiful. So big fan. Hopefully, I'm excited about it. So take care of yourselves out there. Always appreciate you coming along for the ride. And yeah, we'll chat with you guys next week. And who knows what next week's going to be about, but it'll be fun. And we'll go down that rabbit hole when the week arrives. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
One.